So I'm back here at the Bower project, which is our Strawbale ADU. And I just wanted to give you a quick update. We've had like 3 weeks straight of rain almost every day. So really we haven't made much progress from the last time that I did my last video. We're still in the foundation phase, and we have had the electrical and the plumbing underground work completed and inspected and covered up again. So that's good, and we're looking forward to some good weather coming up soon. So I'm hoping that we can really start moving forward again. But in my last video I mentioned that we were doing a grade beam foundation here in order to eliminate the amount of concrete that we use in the project. And the reason why was because concrete contributes to CO2 in our atmosphere. So I wanted to go into more detail in that here in this video. So in this project we chose to use a grade beam foundation, which just uses concrete underneath the exterior walls to support the weight of the walls and the roof. And we eliminated using concrete as the floor in the middle of the house. And the reason why is because concrete, the production, the transportation of the mining of the Portland cement that goes into concrete, all of that is responsible for up to 8% of global CO2 emissions. And so we try to reduce the amount of concrete that we use in our projects. So I'm going to talk in more detail about what those numbers look like specific to this project and kind of expound that out to a larger scale for like the average house. So in our project here, we left the middle of the floor open, and you can see it's just dirt and the plumbing pipes and the electrical pipes right now. This will get covered over with a vapor barrier that will get taped on the seams and sealed to the sides of the foundation. And that's standard practice for if you're doing a concrete slab. So our earthen floor will be a mix of local sand and straw and clay, and I will go into more detail about that when we are actually doing the process, so you get to see what that mixture looks like and what the process looks like as we install it. But for now, I wanted to talk about the fact that we are eliminating 500 square feet of concrete slab for this project. We are still putting a concrete slab in the bathroom area here, and that's because it's a wet room, and this way it will just eliminate the any possibility of worry or maintenance for the homeowner here. It's just about 50 square feet in this area, so it's a pretty small slab with a little bit of concrete. With concrete, each cubic yard of produced concrete is responsible for 400 pounds of CO2 released into our atmosphere. So with our project here, the 500 square feet of slab is equal to a little bit over 6 cubic yards of concrete. And that is equivalent to almost 2,500 pounds of CO2, or the same as an average American car driving about 3,000 miles with getting 25 miles per gallon of gas. So that may not seem like a lot for this particular project. It is a small project, but if you expand that information over to the average American house size, which is about 2,500 square feet, if you think of a 2,500 square foot slab that is 4 inches thick, which is the standard in most cases, that would equate to 31 yards of concrete, which equals 12,400 pounds of CO2 released to the atmosphere. That's about the same as 6 cars driving 3,000 miles. Now, I'm not against using concrete. It's strong, it's durable, it can hold a lot of weight, and it has a good purpose, for instance, as footings under a house. I think it's important to use concrete where it's necessary and where it does the most good. But I don't see that it has to be the thing that we use for our walls and our floors when we have other options. And the whole reason that concrete is responsible for so much of the world's CO2 emissions is because we use so much of it. So many buildings are built entirely of concrete around the world. So my goal is just to use less concrete, and I know this is a small project in comparison to the amount of concrete used across the world every day, but I'm just one person, and we all have to make our efforts where we can. So people have been experimenting and doing research for a while now to come up with ways to make concrete less impactful on the environment. A lot of concrete plants will allow you to add fly ash to your mix. This is a byproduct, and it just really helps to reduce the amount of Portland cement in your concrete. And Portland cement is the particular material that has such a high embodied carbon because of the high temperatures required when firing it to be useful. Some companies are using alternatives like lower carbon fuel sources in the production of their concrete. And there are companies who are experimenting with actually capturing carbon out of the environment and then injecting it into the concrete, essentially making it a carbonated concrete, which allows it to spread out farther and it becomes lighter during transportation. So those things can all reduce the carbon footprint of your concrete. If you're interested in figuring out the carbon footprint of a building project that you are working on or are planning, there's an amazing group of folks who have gotten together and done a lot of research and put together this really cool calculator that you can use. That's open source, it's free, and it helps you to figure out the carbon footprint of your whole building material. I'll put the link in the description, but they are called the Builders for Climate Action. And the calculator is the beam calculator. I'm going to use it on this project because you can create a baseline and then your actual project, you can compare alternatives. It allows you to input all the materials that you're going to use, and it tells you the carbon footprint of your building, including all those materials. And I'm really excited to use it for this project to see where we come out and compare it to what the house would have been if we had just built it conventionally. So a huge thanks to the folks at Builders for Climate Action for all the work that they have done and for putting this out there for all of us to use. I hope this information has been helpful, and thank you for joining me.